Hello everyone, my name is Ash, and welcome to my crafting corner. Today is one of, if not the most well-known female characters in video games, 2B. Start off with the base layer for your skin, a standard skin tone paint. Trying to get every spot on the face covered in paint can be a bit annoying at times, since you have to move it around so much, and try to get some strange angles. Since this figure has two versions of her head, one with the bandage, and the other without, we paint both and wait for them to dry before moving on. The thick thighs, that everyone loves, there isn't much skin here, just the butt, and the hips. Moving on to her torso, paint in the cleavage, and the back parts too. Although on camera, the paint for skin looks very light in color, when it dries, it will darken quite a bit. Now, we move on to staining or tinting the skin. Before I stain them, each piece is coated in a clear coat to protect the base layer. With a mixture of almost whole water, cover all the skin with a yellow wash, get it into the parts you need, then remove it. The yellow will darken the skin slightly. The red stain though, really gives the effect of skin on a real person. Normally you would add freckles next, but since she is a robot, you don't have to, so I didn't. I'm just using a standard paper towel here, just trying to get any paint buildup off quickly. You only want to stain the skin, not paint it. 2B's clothing is a very simple set of colors, black, and a lot of it, I mean a lot. Her arm cuff feather things were a complete nightmare to get into the cracks. I had to use a brush, after this first few coats dried off camera, otherwise I would never have gotten it all. You can see how much of a pain in the ass it was to try and get the black paint into all the crevasses of the arm. I'm not sure why, but my black paint seems to be camera shy. I can mix it perfectly from my airbrush, but the moment I record, it just decides to not work. The black paint takes so many coats to get a nice finish on the parts. At some point, I need to go to my hobby shop and get some higher quality stuff. When the legs were done being painted, I used a semi-gloss clear coat to give the effect of a shiny leather material, like 2B's boots are. I've had that kin for so long, and never really used it. I have a few more models that are going to need it, since they are shiny material. I've never actually played her game before, I just know the character from things, yes, things, videos. The crest under her breasts, is just silver. If you look close, you can see some skin between the parts of it. I had first thought they would look good with a thin coat of black, to give the effect of a stocking, but I hated how it looked, so I went back with my white paint, and just filled them in. It looks much better than what I had first though. Keep working around the whole body, just going slow, and building up the layers of silver. This paint needs a few coats, to get a nice finish and appearance on it. The white below it, took so many coats, it was so boring, and I didn't want to film any of it. I just was watching a stream while getting them built up, but it came out nice. Her gloves are very simple, just black from the knuckles to her fingertips, then add the band around her hand, with again, black paint. Don't really have to be too careful here, since we painted the outline behind the fingers. Her hair, I've seen pictures, and it looks white, but I might be slightly colorblind to it, so I went with a very light gray. My camera can barely pick it up, but it's there, just trust me. Here you can see how the hair is gray. We use black paint to finish the hairband, 1 or 2 coats should do it. Now the part I was really proud of, her face. For her lips, we used that super thin red paint from the skin tinting, to very slowly build up her lips. It dries pretty damn fast, so you just keep building it up, until you are happy. After the lips are done, I use a gloss varnish on them, to give the effect of the lips being wet. Use a toothpick, and add her beauty mark. The bandages, is again, the same black as before, just slosh it over, and repeat about 5 times. The eyes. I really wanted to give her green eyes, since that's my favorite color of eyes, but she has blue. Start with a darker blue. And when it's dry, add a lighter blue to give the effect of the lines in an iris. And with that, we are on to the glamour shots. This is probably the biggest figure I've ever printed and painted so far. I was shocked to see after the entire time I have had a resin printer. I didn't have a 2B yet, which is like the must-have for any 3D printer. She turned out so good, and is sitting on my desk right now, just looking at me, while I edit and everything. I guess now I need a really big jar. I want to thank you all for sticking with me on this one. While she doesn't have the biggest color palette, it's still fun. This model is from East Monsters. I will put a link to their Patreon in my description. If you like this model, consider checking out their work. It's so stunning and beautiful. She is so big, that even when I tried to film her sideways, she wouldn't get in the whole shot, so I had to go vertical. Sorry it took so long for this video to get out. I only have a smaller printer, and sometimes, if a part fails, like her legs, that can be a huge time sink. I'm already printing and doing all the post-processing work on my next figure. She isn't nearly as tall, but I'm still looking forward to it. I actually have like 4 or 5 figures I want to print and paint, they just take so long to print. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to like the video too. Also, please go check out E.S Monsters Patreon for their incredible 3D models.